Hello and welcome to I Don't Believe What I Believe. This is a small discussion on a comparison between our beliefs that we hold and what I have termed core beliefs. So let us begin. First of all, in the beginning, we have, I think when we're born, would be described as a blank slate of beliefs. And on each side of us are lies and truths that exist in this world that are there and ever present. So in the beginning, we start kind of with a clean slate. But it's not very long into our life that both the lies and also the truth begin to have an impression on us, and it begins to shade our beliefs that we have. These lies could come from the world. It could be inherited from generation and passed down to us, and we begin to believe certain things to be true, things that we believe to be true about God, about others, about groups of people. Even about ourselves, we begin to assimilate these lies into our life, and we begin to form beliefs that these things become true. And on the other hand, through church and through godly parents, we're able also to hear truth, and we're able to cling on to those and begin to shade our beliefs and begin to form in us things that we believe to be true and not to be true. However, what happens then is as this truth and lies intersect into our lives, they become more than simply beliefs or knowledge about a certain aspect of life. They in actuality, become core beliefs for us. And so we will now act on those core beliefs. We could hold beliefs about certain aspects of the world, but we don't necessarily act on them. We're not presented with those issues to act upon them. However, when lies become core beliefs, we can begin to believe certain things, for example, about ourselves, and we will begin to act out of those beliefs. And we will, if we have a core belief formed by a lie, possibly inherited through generations, that we are worthless, then we will begin to act as if we are worthless. If, however, we're raised by godly parents, we can begin to see what God says about us and who we are, and those become more than simply a confession of beliefs, but become something that we inherently believe in our hearts and that we operate out of. That begins to define a core belief. Now, how this applies to us and why this is important, I think, for us to understand is that God is always testing our faith. God is always testing those core beliefs. And He does that through circumstances. He brings circumstances, He allows circumstances to come into our life. This could be what we call trials in the book of James. But these come into our lives, and we are going to view these circumstances through one of the two lenses. We will look at the circumstance through a set of core beliefs that have been formed by lies, and then we will act accordingly and we will react based on those core beliefs that have been formed in us, and we will react to that. So, going back to my illustration, if a core belief was formed in our life, formed out of lies that we are worthless, a circumstance comes along where we are criticized or whether we are made to feel bad, we will look at that and say, well, I am worthless, and we will react with that core belief or out of that core belief because we have faith in that core belief is true. That's our reality, and therefore we will react. And we will either sulk or we will, um, try to defend ourselves in the opposite reaction and try to prove that we have value in the world when in essence we really don't believe that. Now, on the other hand, if our identity was formed through Christ and through godly parents, through proper godly teaching, and we begin to understand our identity, we're able to look at the circumstance through that lens, that core belief of truth, and then we're able to act out of that and respond in a godly manner. So if a bad situation comes about, but I know who I am in Christ, then I will be able to react not in a defensive position, but in a humble position, without judgment, without condemnation. I will be able to um, naturally respond in an action that is not sinful. Now, these core beliefs really come into play, number one, when our belief about God. And so, what I have determined in my previous life to be true about God, I am then going to react accordingly about that. My idea about God is that He is a judgmental and a punishing God when circumstances therefore come, I'm going to look through the lens of that truth, and I'm going to see this as a punishment. And I'm going to react accordingly. But if I know that God is all loving, full of grace and mercy, that He never punishes us, if that's my core belief, not a belief that I can confess on Sunday, but a core belief that's inside my life, that I am going to see any circumstance through the lens of God's love, God's grace, God's mercy, God's power, I'm going to then naturally respond in an action that is different from a core belief that is formed out of a lie. Well, I hope that helps a little bit in what we're trying to accomplish and take place here, and look forward to more discussions with this.